Hello everybody, and yeah, in the light of showing you, I guess, the positions at least I like to use on Lakeville, one of the most important things I think is to actually show you people how to fucking spot from the middle on Lakeville, because it's one of the things I see being done the most wrong all over the place. And it depends on a couple of things. I'm just going to show you the different positions and explain you what advantages and disadvantages they have, yeah? From both sides. So we're just going to do that real quick in the training room, yeah? I'm not even going to spot the enemy. First of all, you can always go, if you want to be safe, you can just peek here with your turret. If you have really high view range, you will spot completely stupid enemies crossing in the open. I don't really see a point in this. Like, you can use this position to shoot, especially in low-tier games, because actually, especially low-tier games are a good position to be shooting from because you won't be spotted, because everyone has bad view ranges. And it can be a good position if you have like really high view range, but so you have 400 plus base and then you have optics and so on, but you're still playing in actually low-tier games, so maybe you're a trade in like a game with tier 6s and so on, or you're like a Hellcat or something with Binox, because in those low-tier games you still have retards crossing here, right? While in actual tier 10 games everyone crosses in the back normally. So that's this position. Mainly for shooting. If you are like a scout trying to spot for snipers, do not go there. It just doesn't make any sense, yeah? That's a position for like spotting and sniping. This bush is safe, unless the enemy rushes to here, in which case you're definitely spotted. You can try hiding. Like, you can try hiding here nowadays, in case that guy dies instantly, right? So if you have a guy rushing in, he spots you, you get safe here, then he gets killed by your snipers, and then you can go back in the bush. It's still, however, as you can see on the minimap, you will not spot to the red line from him. That's really important to understand. This position, yes, it is decent at spotting, but even with the very best view range possible in World of Tanks, you will not spot even a mouse who actually crosses all the way, like, in the back. And that's something that many people don't seem to be aware of, I think. Then, you have, obviously, the risky position, right? Once you go here, it actually gets risky. And if you decide to go for this rock, there's again 3 ways to kind of spot, if you ask me. First of all, you can try peeking out back here, which mainly will be able to give you, actually you can shoot through these bushes unspotted in case you have someone else spotting. Or for example, if you're spotting on this side, and then you want to shoot unspotted, you can shoot from here. It's a tricky shot, but if you know where to aim, yeah, you can pre-aim right there. And as you might see now, yeah, a shot would perfectly hit an enemy driving there if he spotted and I'm pre-aiming correctly. No issue at all. And it allows you to spot the bottom of the village. Then, the best thing to nearly do actually is kind of go like this. Try and point your tank a bit up on the rock, because that way, and I have to go back from the rock to show you this, you will be spotting with your turret through this rock and this bush at the enemies, and they will already be spotted right there. If I'm just standing here, let's say, yeah? Or what you also commonly see is someone standing like this or something. I would only spot the enemies because here there's a rock in the way and there's a bush in the way which I don't see through. I would only possibly spot them over here. And if we look, since view range is a circle, it's already pretty unlikely I will spot them, yeah? So that's kind of, if you're really standing here as stupid, you're better off actually hugging the rock, unless you want to shoot. And trying to point your turret up a bit, basically, so your turret, because the top of your turret has a spot check, right? Looks there. However, be careful you don't get stuck and then can't drive. And then if you really feel confident, what you can also do is actually drive all the way to here and again either spot through here or just actually hang back and stand here to spot through here, but by being more forward. Those 10 meters really matter. As you can see, now I see all the way to the red line, yeah? And even from here, you will see all the way to nearly the red line if you point your turret up. And this allows you to really spot all the enemies crossing. Now let's look at the other side real quick. Yeah? This is how to spot from this side. If we are coming from the other side, it is it's quite different actually. First of all, you have the sniping position, which is this. Right? You go hold down here to snipe. Okay. Then, and from here you will be able, if you have high range, to spot through there. Enemies crossing if you pre-aim correctly. Right there you have a tiny shot. And then, do you see that destructible building there? So right here, between that destructible building and that building, or here, if you have enemies driving frontally, or even if they're driving on the road through there, yeah, you can have shots. But obviously they're not great. You can stand in this bush, which is just 10 meters more forwards, and which is what I like to do normally if I'm like in a Batchat or a TVP or Leo, because as you can see, now I have a way longer shot, so I have a higher chance of spotting and being able to shoot in time, than if I'm just standing back here. Right, if I'm standing in the hold down, I just have let's say, one aim circle of a shot at enemies crossing there. So that, like, obviously they cross way faster than if I'm standing here. And it becomes like 2 fully aimed aim circles, right? 1, 2. So yeah, but if you actually want to spot, you have 3 options from this side. First of all is this bush. This bush is very safe. Because as you can see, nothing from there will ever spot you. Nothing from the front will spot you. If you stand in it, so you would want to stand in it something like this. Because... although that might be an issue, that's a good question. But as you can see, if I'm standing like this, this wall here and this rock are blocking me from getting spotted from anything down there. This rock and this bush are stopping me from getting spotted, for example, from a guy in that bush there. So the only thing which could theoretically spot me is anything crossing here, in which case the bush I'm in is actually completely protecting me. So I am completely spawn safe. However, as you can see, unless an enemy actually rushes to here, yeah. However, because this bush here, this one is not less than 15 meters away, more than 15 meters away, not transparent, I will not spot enemy crossing over there in the back at all. Maybe I'll get super lucky and spot 1 or 2 guys through this, but in general, from this position, you will mainly be just spotting people crossing here a bit earlier and more reliably. The more risky push, but the one which really allows you to spot all the way to nearly the red line, although not quite, as you can see. But normally this push is good enough because people drive like this on the road. Is this one? It does have a slight risk of getting spotted by people poking there. You remember that first position I showed you from the other side? It is possible to spot you depending, I think it depends on the view range, camo, and like, basically it depends whether the tree decides to block your line of sight and the vision check timings. If you don't know that vision checks have timings in World of Tanks, go read the wiki, it's really important. Or I have to make a video on that, because that stuff matters. But yeah, so this is that push, and it allows you to then drive away like this. However, it is risky, you really need to have a high camo for this one, because you cannot stay, or you have to be very small. For example, if you're in a 90, you definitely fit in, or in a 12T. But a bad shot, you would definitely have to have a max camo crew if you want to risk using this bush, because it's possible you get spotted, for example, by enemies going aggressive into the city, and you won't be able to hide your entire tank all the time. So this bush, you're really relying on your camo in general, and possibly even actually you're more standing in the open than not for some enemies. But you are far away, and you're, assuming you have higher view range and higher camo than them because you're scout. Then you have this position, which I really don't like much. It is aggressive and it can work out, or if you get stuck, if you're trying to rush for that rock and you get stuck here, that's okay, because if you're a small tank you can still hide here, but there's no way to get even decently arty safe here. Arty can really completely destroy you, and if you're in any kind of a tank, any bigger than a Roo already, one enemy there, and one enemy there, or even in a Roo, one enemy down there at the church, and it means you're dead. So that's the issue with this position. However, it does allow you to get actually a lot of spots off, and you can go hold down and keep shooting them when they're crossing. So that is really nice, and it could be a good Clower's position if you want to use a bad shot and just hope he doesn't get one shot by Arty. You just put him here, have him go hold down, just keep spotting until he dies for 1 minute, and assume you're going to do more damage in return than losing a bad shot costs you. And then obviously finally we have this position, which I would normally not recommend using, except if for some reason you really want to go here. For example, if the enemy team has like 5 mouses, or you need to go eat in 3 minutes and you just want to have a fast game, or you're really a tier 6 scout in a tier 10 game and you just want to die. Or you just want to, like, you want to get a lot of spotting. Possibly you're going to die, but even if you die you don't care because you're going to have spotted 3000, and that's way better than staying alive for 10 minutes. Like seriously, spotting 3000 damage in tier 6 scout in the first 2 minutes is way better than staying alive for 10 minutes. And doing 400 damage and 400 spotting, yeah. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this part. I'll try to somehow make this entire thing into a video too, and stay around. One thing you might have noticed I didn't mention are these bushes down here, or same on the other side. It's because I'm not a big fan of these bushes. You can use them in clan wars if you want to for a specific tactic, and the only case I would normally use them in a random is if I'm really in a lower tier tank, or specifically scout, and I see that the enemy really has a lot of, for example, scouts or mediums or tank destroyers, which I expect, or autoloaders, TVPs, 50Bs, right? Tanks which you expect to be sniping from the middle, and you want to be spotting those, and you think your team is actually going to be there and sniping them. That's the only case I would consider using these kind of bushes, and in that case, to be honest, between that one, and same on the other side, it doesn't really matter as long as you have super range. and you're able to look at your rear range circle, you're going to be spotting inside of that. Right. Now let's have a look at, in general though, this map. So let's go here. I'm just going to go through the positions I think you should go to in randoms, and where I think you should never go, and try and explain it by tank real quick. Valley, you go with RT, because if you are actually playing RT, first of all you're scumbag, and second of all that's where you farm the most damage. Go stand there, you can farm the entire valley and still a bunch of the city. Unless there's 5 RTs, right, and all 4 others also standing here, and getting a crossfire might be actually interesting. Do you ever go valley normally on Lakeville? In encounter, never, right? In encounter the cap is here. If you play encounter, never go valley. Not even in anything. In not encounter, like, for example, if there's no RT and you're in a crown wagon and you're like, I want to go there, I kind of understand, and why not? But if there was RT, I would never go valley ever. And if there's no RT, I would only go there in tanks, which are absolutely broken hold down, where I know no one will penetrate me when I'm hold down, like literally no one in the enemy team. And by going there, I will literally on my own win that flank and get 5k damage. Because if you go here, you completely lock yourself down, you're way too slow to react to anything, you can get capped, you can get cap rushed, your entire team dies. You can't spot anything, it's completely stupid terrain. It's really hard to push and so on. I talked about the bushes in middle. Normally what I'll do is, in the bat chat, or a leopard, I'll go for like those kind of, you know, high view range, really scouty mediums. I'll go for the semi-aggressive positions, so that would normally be, for example, this bush, or going actually here, in the bat chat from the north. And from the south, I might go for the semi-aggressive bushes here, or I'll just stay in the snipey position and pre-aim this. In a scout, I'd go all the way. If I think I won't get a lot of shots on the cross, because for example there's a lot of low tier tanks, there's not a lot of heavies in general and so on, I don't bother with going here in mediums at all. I just immediately cross into the city and take aggressive positions, especially if I'm a high tier medium. I don't see why I wouldn't take aggressive positions in city. It's one of the best things to do on this map in general anyway. And then if I'm an autoloader, which has good sniping, or if I just in general good sniper tank which is fast enough, and I see that my team will be spotting, or I think so, either because we have a lot of spotters, or because someone says so in chat, then I will go here to snipe, or here to snipe at the beginning and do 1 or 2 clips, or whatever, 3-4 shots on the cross, and then go here. Also if I see that the enemy team has a lot of heavies. Normally though, in the city, nowadays, I used to think north is favored because of this position. Nowadays, I honestly think south is favored. You can go here on this corner. You can go hold down, completely hold down, and murder and shoot anyone going here, or yeah, in this road, as well as anyone crossing here, for that matter. Every time a free shot. You can also completely farm anyone moving up here. Anyone moving up here, like to the church, you can even get in 2 shots normally. In like an IS-3 or something, so that's like 800 damage for free. The only issue is if people poke, well, if people poke here, you're actually not hold down anymore, but you're still basically in the better position because they're peeking weirdly around houses or through destroyed walls, and if you have any support whatsoever, they get absolutely destroyed. There's no way for them to side scrape or anything. They can just peek here, or they are on the lower ground where you can farm them and you're hold down, and they're not, or they're all the way down here, in which case you can't shoot them. And also what's really nice, if they actually push into this, right, so let's say the enemy pushes like this, by just staying here you can keep farming through this hold down. So this position is really completely broken, and in my opinion, if you're on the south, you should either you go there. If you see your team already has someone there, or is going there with everyone, you don't want to stand there with 5 tanks either. The other good position is down here. Again, hold down. You can pre-aim even through the broken, like there's pillars down here on this building, you can pre-aim through that. People are too stupid always to see that. So you always get in a free shot, you're nearly perfectly hold down, or pretty hold down anyway, and you get shots on anyone doing this, doing this, doing this. As long as you're there in time, obviously. And you even have some kind of shots, I think, at this and people peeking here, but that's not so awesome. From the other side, you have a pretty symmetrical position to this one, which is this one, but with a big difference that you are, well, it's a better position because you're kind of more hold down and so on. You can shoot this and you can shoot, wait, no, not this, you can shoot this and you can shoot this, no one goes here obviously. And you can even actually, these 2 positions are kind of hold down at each other. Although this one is lower, it's kind of weird, but basically the ridge line here actually makes these 2 positions hold down to each other. Go test it out in the training room if you want to understand. And there's actually a bush in the way. So what a lot of people are not aware of is that from here to here and back, you can actually shoot, but it's a tricky shot, and you're going to see like the top of a turret through a bush. A lot of people just don't realize that. But yeah, since these people are normally aiming here, it's 3 turret side shots. And sometimes also when these people are peeking, yeah, they're peeking a bit aggressively here, 3 turret side shots or even side shots. So yeah, that's really important. Otherwise, this position from this side. And what I also like to do, especially if I notice the enemy is sniping in middle with their mediums and they don't have too many fast heavies, or if I notice the enemy team is going a lot towards the valley, which you normally see quite quickly, or if I see our team is just going a lot towards the city and we have faster tanks possibly in the city in general, like just we are faster, or I'm in a platoon. I know, there's a lot of conditions, but really it's what I like to do. Especially from the northern side, I really enjoy going aggressively into the city. So what would that mean then? That would mean either going for this position aggressively, so from the north, something like this. Because once you're here, you're pretty safe from snipers in middle. Here you get farmed and so on, not good, but once you're here, you're pretty safe. And then you can just side scrape there and farm this and they're not hold down on you anymore, for example. And you can also drive down and peek on this, and then you can also, if for example they're standing up here, you can always go, if you're faster, you're already here or you're coming from the south. I'll get back to that. Yeah, first of all, yeah, so either I would go like this to here, or what I would do is go more like, actually no. If you're driving into the city from here, don't drive like this nearly ever, unless you're actually in a bad shot. If you're in a heavy and you want to get a fast route to get here, the way you're meant to drive, in my eyes, is like something like this, depending on how scared you're of getting spotted, right? You drive between here and here. But then what you do is either here or here, you drive like this, okay? That's really important. That means, because here, first of all, you can't get shot here in between from people here. And even here, where you can kind of get shot, since you're driving like this, the angle is way shorter and smaller, and you're further away, so it's less likely to get spotted than if you're crossing here. Anyway, once you do that, this cross is safe. This cross, you can get absolutely murdered by the enemy base, but it's a really narrow road. So what's really important in my eyes, if you want to cross from here to here, is just to be unspotted. Because even if you get spotted while crossing, they won't have time to turn the turret and shoot, and they won't be pre-aimed, even if they're pre-aimed, like, you cross in time. However, if you get spotted here, or if for some reason there's an enemy peeking here and you're spotted, then don't cross this, because you can get absolutely destroyed inside by like 2 DDs there or 5. But yeah, if you go aggressive on the south, you can again also go aggressive here. And then what I like to do is either you peek here into this and try and get shots. Don't drive out here, yeah? You can peek here though to get shots into this area. Or you drive up, and I like playing over this actually. By hugging the left side here, you are safe from this to a pretty strong degree. You can shoot through the pillars at anyone, like through the destroyed pillars at anyone in here. And you can keep getting shots at enemies who don't expect you to shoot at them. And finally, if the enemies are just standing here in this road, for example, you can peek here and shoot them in the ass, / drive in their ass and shoot them in the ass. And I really like going aggressively into the city from north, if I'm in a tank, which allows me to do that, and I think we have a chance of winning the city. From the south, I think that's more risky, because the only position you can really go into, you would have to actually push all the way into here or here, since this is basically useless and anything else gets farmed from the snipers. What would you do in a TD, I guess, because that's only the... So yeah, in a medium, possibly snipe, then go city. In a heavy, basically go instant city, unless you really are a 50B or something. In a scout, focus on spotting if possible. In a low tier medium, possibly also focus on spotting. Or even on staying middle and sniping all game, if I'm like in a CDC, right, in a tier 10 game. In a tank destroyer, normally I'll actually go straight city. I won't stay in sniper, because... mediums are just as good as tank destroyers when they're sniping at the beginning. And if I see 5 mouses, 3 E100s, right, and we have a 90 spot in middle, and I'm in a TD, I'll go here and do my 3k damage when they cross. But normally, you will get 1 or 2 shots of damage in, but then you'll be so much slower and going to the city that not only you lose damage, most of the time you lose a game, because then your team dies 1 by 1, because you have 2 tanks here and 2 tanks here. Yeah, 2 tier 10 heavies here and 2 tier 10 TDs here, and they overroll them, and then you kind of arrive. Well, instead, if you just go with your heavies and support them, same goes for like 50B, go with your heavies, support them, or even for the medium, and then you can quickly overrun the city, in my experience. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. This is kind of my first review of a map for randoms. It's something a couple people have been requesting. I chose Lakeville because I had an idea of what to do when it wasn't too complicated, because it's a pretty straightforward map. I'm not claiming this to be magic, but please tell me if you want me to do this more, or if you're like, Genghis, this video is boring and I know all of this. Or tell me maybe what's missing or what's not. If this is a video series you guys want to see, I'm willing to do it. Tell me what you want to see in it. And if it's something you guys don't care about, there'll be 1 or 2 videos of this and none not. So yeah, please give me feedback, give me likes or dislikes according to what you think of this video and what you want to see more of. And please feedback in the comments as always. And make sure you subscribe, of course, for all the awesome things. Okay, bye bye everyone.